German Shepherd stops mom from boarding flight. What was in the diaper bag shocked everyone. The bustling airport terminal was a familiar sight to Ella Clark. She had just finished a long vacation with her young son, Eli, and was eager to return home. They stood in the crowded security line, surrounded by the sounds of rolling luggage and distant overhead announcements. Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. Without warning, a German Shepherd, heavily focused and exuding a quiet intensity, stepped in front of them. Max, the K9, stood motionless, his piercing eyes locked on Eli, the 4-year-old boy who was innocently clutching his toy car. Ella glanced at the dog, a slight frown crossing her face. It was odd, but she shrugged it off. Then, Max did something that made her stomach flip. He stepped forward, blocking their path. Ella felt a chill run down her spine. Max didn't just look at Eli. He stared at him. His whole body was still, tense, his tail rigid. His intense gaze seemed to pierce through her son, as if searching for something hidden beneath the surface. Ella's heart began to race. What could this dog possibly want with her son? Then, as if sensing her rising anxiety, the handler, Officer Sofia Martinez, approached with an expression that didn't quite match the usual friendly demeanor. She gently tugged on Max's leash, trying to coax him back, but Max refused to move. His gaze never wavered from Eli, as though he was on high alert, and the air around them grew thick with tension. Ella's fingers tightened around Eli's hand, her grip firm but trembling. She could feel her pulse pounding in her throat. There was something about this moment that felt wrong, something she couldn't quite place. And that's when it happened. Max barked, sharply, urgently. It wasn't a playful bark. It was a command. The sharpness of the sound cut through the terminal, sending a wave of unease through everyone nearby. The noise in the terminal seemed to fall away as Ella stood frozen in shock. Max's sudden bark had set off a chain reaction. Security officers rushed over, their footsteps echoing as they swiftly surrounded Ella and her son. The air turned cold as several officers in dark uniforms quickly positioned themselves around. The small family. The scene had escalated from a simple airport routine to something that felt like an emergency. Ella's breath quickened, and her heart pounded in her chest. "What's going on?" she whispered, her voice shaky with confusion and fear. The officers' faces were a mix of concern and professional detachment. They were doing everything they could to remain calm, but even their movements betrayed the growing urgency of the situation. Ella felt her body tighten as a knot formed in her stomach. She tried to stay composed, but 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind. Was this some kind of misunderstanding? Had they mistaken her for someone else? Officer Sophia, her face pale and tense, addressed her calmly, but with a hint of seriousness in her voice. "Ma'am, we need to inspect your bag. Please, step aside." Ella's heart dropped. "Why? What's wrong?" "It's just a diaper bag. There's nothing in there but baby stuff." Her voice cracked slightly, but Officer Sophia's eyes told a different story. Something wasn't right. Something had drawn Max's attention, something inside her bag that no one could have expected. With no further explanation, Officer Sophia reached for Ella's bag, a simple diaper bag that was packed with essentials for her young son. Max, still tense and focused on Eli, stood motionless beside the handler, his body language unwavering. The officers gathered around them, the atmosphere thick with tension. Even the other travelers were starting to notice, their whispers carrying through the air. Ella's hands trembled as she unzipped the bag. "There's nothing in there, only diapers, wipes, a few bottles," she said, her voice breaking under the weight of the moment. But as the officers began to pull out the usual items, diapers, snacks, and baby wipes, nothing seemed out of place. Ella exhaled, relieved for a split second, thinking maybe this was just a misunderstanding. But then, something caught Officer Sophia's eye. She paused, her fingers lingering on a small, zipped compartment near the bottom of the bag. Ella hadn't thought to check it before. It was a hidden pouch that she rarely used, but she didn't think it would matter. Max's gaze didn't move from Eli. The dog seemed more focused than ever, as if it could sense something deeper, something hidden. Officer Sophia slowly unzipped the pouch. Ella watched, her stomach churning with confusion. What could possibly be inside? And then, as Sophia revealed the contents, everything changed. Officer Sophia's hands trembled slightly as she pulled out an item from the pouch. At first, it seemed like an ordinary object, perhaps a forgotten toy or snack. But when she held it up, her expression hardened, her eyes widening in disbelief. The room seemed to hold its breath, and for a brief moment, time stood still. Max's posture relaxed, but only slightly. His body language had changed, as though the discovery had confirmed something, though no one understood what. The officers stood frozen, their faces pale, as they exchanged glances, their unease now evident. Ella's mind raced. What had they found? It didn't make sense. Her body felt numb as she stared at the officer's hand, holding the object. Her heart pounded louder than ever, and she realized this was no longer just an ordinary inspection. This was something far more serious. The item in Officer Sophia's hand wasn't something you'd expect to find in a mother's diaper bag. It was something dangerous, something that had the potential to change everything. Ella Clark's life has been a constant struggle, but her love for her young son Eli is the one thing that keeps her from falling apart. At 29, she's already faced heartbreak, addiction, and countless setbacks. But now, she's stepping into a new chapter, one that could either make or break her. Traveling to a rehab program, Ella is determined to start fresh, but she's carrying more than just her luggage. Her past mistakes, guilt, and the weight of being a single mom in a world that's often unforgiving weigh heavily on her shoulders. Eli, just 3 years old, is the light of her life, the reason she fights every day to overcome the demons of her past. Despite her best efforts, Ella feels like she's always one step behind, always trying to outrun the shadow of her former self. The decision to go to rehab is a desperate attempt at redemption, but she can't help but wonder if she's truly strong enough to break free from the cycle that's held her captive for so long. Every step she takes forward feels like a battle, but for Eli, she will fight with everything she has. Sophia Martinez is not your typical police officer. With over a decade of experience working as a K-9 handler, she has seen it all. But it's the people she encounters, not the cases she solves, that truly leave an impact. Sophia's own painful history with addiction, stemming from the overdose death of her younger brother, has given her a unique perspective on those struggling with similar demons. Rather than approaching her job with the cold, detached mindset that many might expect, she brings a sense of empathy to every situation. Sophia's strength lies in her ability to connect with those in crisis. She's lived through the pain of watching someone she loved fall victim to addiction, and that tragedy has shaped her approach to both law enforcement and life. She doesn't see addicts as criminals. She sees them as people in desperate need of help. This outlook, combined with her dogged determination to make a difference, drives Sophia every day. Her partnership with Max, her loyal German Shepherd, is built on a deep understanding and trust. Together, they make a formidable team, one that not only enforces the law, but also offers a silent kind of support to those in need. Max isn't just any police dog, he's something extraordinary. His imposing figure and keen sense of smell make him an excellent asset in detecting drugs and explosives. But it's his ability to sense human emotion that sets him apart. Trained to detect not just physical signs of distress, but the emotional turmoil within a person, Max has an uncanny ability to read situations and people. He can tell when someone is anxious, fearful, or struggling emotionally, often before the person even fully realizes it themselves. Max's relationship with Sophia goes beyond professional. They share a bond that is both unspoken and unbreakable. While most K9 officers focus on training their dogs to respond to commands, Sophia has nurtured Max's emotional intelligence. He's more than just a tool to her. He's a partner, a confidant, and a constant presence that reminds her of why she chose this line of work. Together, they can navigate even the most complex situations, using not just their training, but their deep understanding of human emotions to help those in need. Max is always alert, always watching, and most importantly, always there when he's needed. His intuition allows him to pick up on the smallest cues, a slight shift in body language, a quickened breath, a tremble in the hands. His ability to sense what others cannot makes him not just an exceptional K9 officer, but an invaluable support to those around him. As Ella moves through the bustling airport, her son Eli in tow, she's already feeling the weight of her long journey. The anxiety of traveling alone, the uncertainty of what lies ahead, and the constant worry for her son are all weighing on her. But as they approach the security checkpoint, something unexpected happens. Max, the German Shepherd, suddenly halts in front of them. The large, imposing dog stands still, blocking their path with an unwavering gaze. His body tenses, and his eyes fixate directly on Ella. She attempts to continue walking, pulling Eli closer to her side, but Max doesn't budge. His handler, "Sophia!" calls out to him, but the dog remains perfectly still. His focus is unshakable, as if something in the air has caught his attention, something that isn't immediately clear to Ella or anyone around them. The unusual behavior is enough to catch the attention of nearby passengers. Whispers ripple through the crowd, and the air seems to thicken with an unspoken tension. What's going on? Why is this dog refusing to move? Sophia, visibly concerned, steps forward, trying to regain control of Max, but the dog only intensifies. His focus, sniffing the air around Ella and Eli, especially the diaper bag slung over her shoulder. The stares from onlookers begin to feel suffocating. Ella's heart races as the realization slowly dawns on her. Something's wrong, and it's all happening in front of a growing crowd of strangers. Her instincts kick in, and she clutches Eli tighter to her chest, trying to shield him from the spotlight. His small hand wraps around hers, and she can feel the tremble in his tiny fingers. The last thing she needs is for this situation to spiral out of control, especially not now, not when she's already feeling vulnerable and exposed. Max's unrelenting stance only adds to her growing unease. She can feel eyes on her, some judgmental, others filled with curiosity. Her breath quickens, her hands start to shake, and she can feel the walls closing in. She tries to steady herself, but the situation is spiraling faster than she can handle. A flight attendant approaches, her tone polite but urgent, asking if everything is okay. Ella forces a smile, but the discomfort is palpable. "Everything's fine," she says, though her voice betrays her. The truth is, she has no idea why the dog is acting like this, and that uncertainty fills her with dread. The murmurs among the crowd intensify, and soon the scene catches the attention of airport security. 2 TSA agents quickly approach, their eyes scanning Ella and Eli with growing concern. One of them glances at Max and his handler, Sophia, before addressing Ella directly. The agent's voice is calm, but there's an underlying urgency. "Ma'am, I'm afraid we're going to need to inspect your bag." Ella's heart skips a beat. She hadn't done anything wrong. She didn't even have anything of concern in her bag. But Max's continued behavior, combined with the mounting attention from security, suggests that something is amiss. The agents exchange glances, one of them signaling for additional backup. It's clear now that this is no ordinary situation. In the background, Sophia's expression hardens. She senses that something has triggered Max in a way she's never seen before, and it's not just his training at play. Max isn't reacting to drugs or explosives. He's reacting to something else, something far more personal. Max refuses to budge, even as Sophia calls to him in an attempt to break his focus. The dog's intense sniffing of Ella's diaper bag becomes more pronounced, his nose twitching as he takes in the scent. His paws dig into the floor, his stance rigid, and it becomes clear that he's detecting something far more serious than just the usual airport fare. Ella's anxiety deepens. She watches helplessly as TSA agents move in, preparing to inspect her bag. Max's refusal to move becomes more than just a display of stubbornness. It feels like a warning. The officers exchange worried glances, and one of them leans in close. To Sophia, asking in a low voice, "Is he picking up something more than just contraband?" Sophia's eyes flicker to Max, her mind racing. She knows him well. He's not acting like he usually does. This is different. There's something in that bag, something unsettling. Her stomach churns, but she remains calm on the surface, her gaze meeting Ella's. "Ma'am," Sophia says, her voice soft but firm. "We need to inspect your bag." Ella swallows hard, her mind spinning. What could be inside? Why is Max reacting like this? The tension is thick in the air, and every second feels like an eternity. As she slowly unzips the bag, the crowd watches, holding its breath, waiting for the truth to unfold. The next few moments will reveal far more than anyone could have ever anticipated. The atmosphere grows unbearably thick with tension as Ella stands frozen, her heart racing as the TSA officers continue to inspect her diaper bag. Her eyes flicker nervously between the officer's hands and her son, Eli, clutching his small, innocent form to her chest. She's overwhelmed with a feeling of helplessness. The surroundings blur and her mind is a whirlwind of confusion. She's already fought so hard to put her life together after the chaos of addiction. But now, at the most crucial moment, it feels as though everything is falling apart. Her voice trembles as she repeatedly tries to explain herself. But each word comes out choked, drowned by the sound of her own panic. "I haven't done anything wrong," she insists, her hands shaking as they hover protectively over Eli. Ella's usually calm demeanor is nowhere to be found. She's unraveling, unrecognizable in the face of this unexpected ordeal. It's like a nightmare come to life. She can't fathom what is happening. A feeling of dread crawls up her spine as she watches the officer sift through her personal belongings with a methodical precision that only heightens her anxiety. Was someone setting her up? Could this be a cruel, twisted trick? Her head spins, with the thought of what this could mean for her future and for Eli's safety. The eyes of the crowd begin to feel suffocating, their whispers growing louder with every passing second. It's like a silent judgment is being passed over her, and her worst fear, being accused of something she hasn't done, is coming true. Her hands tremble as she clutches Eli tighter, the grip on him the only thing grounding her in the moment. Every inch of her body screams for clarity, for answers, but there's none. The truth seems further out of reach than ever. After a long, excruciating few moments of silence, the officer's hand emerges from the diaper bag with something unexpected, a small pouch that Ella hadn't even noticed. The pouch feels heavier than it should, and her stomach lurches as the officer inspects it closely. She hadn't packed anything like this. The bag had only diapers, wipes, a bottle, and some baby food for Eli. She hadn't even thought twice about what went in it. It was just a bag to get them through their flight. But now, as the officer examines it, it feels like the world is closing in on her. The pouch looks innocuous enough, just a small compartment among the many inside the diaper bag. But Ella's blood runs cold when she sees the way the officer's fingers move delicately around it, as if they already know what's inside. The officer's eyes narrow suspiciously. He runs his fingers along the zipper, then pulls it open slowly, revealing the contents. Ella's heart skips a beat. She watches, wide-eyed, as he pulls something free from the pouch. She can't see clearly yet, but her mind races. Could it be something dangerous? Why is it so heavy? At this point, every passing second feels like an eternity. Ella's panic mounts as the officer continues to inspect the pouch. There's no turning back now. The weight of the moment presses on her chest as she feels a knot form in her stomach. What was in that pouch? What was hidden inside? Her bag? Every instinct inside her tells her this isn't hers. But the reality of the situation is undeniable. She's in a nightmare, and it's only just beginning. The moment the officer opens the pouch, Ella's heart stops. He pulls out a small plastic bag containing white powder, its presence unmistakable. Fentanyl. She knows it immediately. Ella's breath catches in her throat as her worst fear is realized. There's no denying it. The drugs are right there in front of her. Her mind spins. How could this have ended up in her bag? She hasn't used drugs in months, and she's worked so hard to stay clean for Eli's sake. To think that something so dangerous could be linked to her sends shockwaves through her body. The officer's eyes shift between the drugs and Ella's face. There's no mistaking the seriousness of the situation. Fentanyl is notorious for its lethal potency, and the mere presence of it in her bag is enough to send alarm bells ringing throughout the airport. The officer's fingers move on, pulling out a small set of blue pills. They seem innocuous at first, but Ella knows all too well what they are. Opioids. The kind of pills that have destroyed lives. The kind of pills that have haunted her nightmares. Ella's breath comes in ragged gasps as the officer holds the items up for her to see. Her mind is racing, trying to piece together how this could have happened. "This isn't mine," she whispers, the words barely audible. But deep inside, she knows that the truth is slipping through her fingers, just as these pills are slipping through the officer's gloved hands. Her life is about to change forever, and she can't stop it. The officer's inspection doesn't stop there. As he continues to dig through the pouch, his hand closes around something metallic. It's a spoon, small and worn, its surface tarnished from use. Ella's stomach drops. The spoon looks just like the kind she's seen in countless stories. People, struggling with addiction, trying to survive, trying to get by. The spoon tells its own silent story, one of desperation and despair, and in that moment, Ella can't escape the truth of what's unfolding. This isn't just about drugs. It's about something far deeper, a past that she's tried to leave behind. But that's not all. The officer pulls out a tightly rolled up bundle of bills, not neatly folded, but hastily hidden away, as though someone was in a rush. Ella's mind is racing now. What is this? Was this some sort of setup? She can't make sense of it. The items are damning, but they don't belong to her. They can't. And yet the presence of these objects, hidden in her bag, is enough to cast suspicion upon her. Her mind starts to spiral into chaos as she tries to understand how she's gotten into this nightmare. The spoon, the pills, the money, they make it impossible to ignore what's happening. She's being thrust back into a world she fought. So hard to escape, and she can't comprehend why or how it's happening. Max, the German shepherd, who has been standing silently beside his handler Sophia, suddenly grows more agitated. The moment the drugs and other suspicious items are revealed, Max begins to bark fiercely, his usual calm demeanor replaced by urgency. His barking becomes louder, sharper, more insistent. His body is tense, his nose twitching with every breath, as he senses the heightened emotion, the overwhelming distress surrounding Ella. Sophia, the K9 officer, is quick to recognize Max's behavior. She's seen him react to emotional instability before, but this is different. His barking is escalating, a clear sign that something is wrong. Max isn't just reacting to the scent of drugs. He's reacting to something deeper, something that goes beyond the physical items in the pouch. He's sensing Ella's fear, her panic, her distress. Max has been trained to detect drugs, but he's also highly attuned to human emotions, particularly those tied to trauma and guilt. Sophia watches Max with a knowing look in her eyes. She's seen his behavior in similar situations, but this time, something is off. The dog's relentless barking pierces through the mounting tension, sending a shiver down Ella's spine. As the officers close in, Ella can feel her entire body trembling. Max's reaction is proof that something is deeply wrong, and it's more than just the drugs. Whatever is happening, it's affecting everyone in the vicinity, especially her. Max's continued barking becomes a stark reminder that there's something deeper at play, something that Ella can't yet fully understand. As the evidence continues to pile up, Ella's fear turns to despair. She collapses onto her knees, Eli, still in her arms, clutching him tightly as though he's the only thing that can anchor her to reality. The room feels like it's closing in on her, the walls pressing against her chest, suffocating her with every breath she takes. Her mind spins, and she can't make sense of the nightmare unfolding before her. "I swear I didn't pack this. Someone set me up," she cries out, her voice raw with emotion, but her plea falls on deaf ears. Ella knows she's in a dire situation. She's always been a fighter, always worked hard to stay on the right path, but now it feels like the past is catching up with her. She can't prove her innocence, not with the drugs in the pouch, not with Max's barking confirming her anxiety. Every part of her is screaming that she's being framed, but she doesn't know how or why. She's not the person they think she is. But how can she convince anyone of that when all the evidence points to the opposite? Her hands shake as she reaches out to the officer, her voice trembling with desperation. "Please, you have to believe." "Me? I'm trying to change. I didn't do this." But no one answers. The weight of the situation settles on her like a crushing force. And Ella realizes with a sinking heart that she may have just lost everything. Ella, with trembling hands and a tear-streaked face, opens up about a painful chapter of her past. The words escape her in broken fragments as she recounts how her abusive ex, Jason, had coerced her into carrying drugs in the past. A rush of emotions floods her mind, as she's forced to relive the trauma of a man who controlled her life in the most manipulative way. She explains how Jason came to her late last night, knowing her vulnerability and desperation. His demands were sharp and unforgiving. She was to carry a bag full of drugs to Chicago, no questions asked. Ella insists that she had no idea what was inside the bag this time. Her only goal was to comply in order to protect her son. Yet, despite her assurances, the officers continue to scrutinize her, casting doubt on her words. Her anxiety skyrockets as she fights to convince them that she's been caught in a trap, once again at the mercy of Jason's cruel games. Ella's panic builds as she realizes the stakes are higher than she ever imagined. She is not only dealing with the immediate threat of being implicated in a drug trafficking operation, but the far-reaching consequences this could have on her life, and most importantly, her son's. Her voice cracks as she pleads for understanding. "Please," she cries, "I'm not the person I used to be. I've fought so hard to stay clean, to protect my son. You have to believe me." Her eyes dart toward Eli, clinging to her side, completely unaware of the gravity of the situation. The image of her son's innocence juxtaposed with the nightmare of her past makes Ella's heart ache. The fear of her son being taken away from her, of her own life falling apart once again, becomes too much to bear. She knows the consequences of her involvement in anything to do with drugs could take away the only thing that keeps her grounded, her little boy. As the officers continue to investigate, the truth begins to sink in. Ella's mind races back to her ex, Jason, how he manipulated her for years, threatening her, using her weakness to control her. The realization hits hard. The drugs in the bag were never hers. Jason had planted them there, just like he had done so many times before. He knew exactly how to push her buttons, how to make her feel trapped in a life she desperately wanted to leave behind. But this time, Ella wasn't going to let him destroy everything she'd worked so hard for. She may have been caught in his web once again, but she refuses to be defined by her past. The weight of the situation presses down on her, but amidst the suffocating fear, there's a flicker of hope. If she can prove she was set up, perhaps she can find a way to escape Jason's clutches once and for all, and save her son from the chaos of their shared past. As Officer Sofia Martinez stands by, Watching Ella struggle with her words, a deep and painful connection stirs within her. She has seen this story before, too many times. People trapped in a vicious cycle of addiction, manipulated by those who seek to exploit their vulnerabilities. But what hits her hardest is the look in Ella's eyes. It's familiar, like a mirror, reflecting the pain her own family endured. Martinez's younger brother, Miguel, lost his life to fentanyl, a drug that gripped him so tightly he couldn't escape. Her brother's overdose was a tragedy that left scars in more ways than one. She knows the devastating effects of fentanyl firsthand. As Ella's desperate pleas echo in her mind, Martinez's heart softens. She understands the desperation, the terror of being caught in a world you desperately want to leave behind, but can't. Ella's fear is raw, and Martinez can feel the weight of it. For a moment, the officer isn't just a law enforcement figure. She's a person, empathizing with a mother who is clearly battling her own demons. Martinez's mind races as she reviews the security footage, trying to piece together what happened. The images are grainy, but something doesn't sit right. Ella's body language shows no signs of deception. She's frantic, but not in a way that screams guilt. Her child clings to her, visibly upset, yet Ella doesn't appear to be trying to flee or hide anything. There's no swift, guilty gesture, no nervous shifting that could point to a woman trying to cover up her involvement in a crime. Martinez rewinds the footage again, her gut telling her there's more to this than meets the eye. With each passing moment, she feels her suspicion grow. This isn't the behavior of someone involved in drug trafficking. Ella's story, though seemingly far-fetched, is beginning to make more sense. The officer can't shake the feeling that something else is going on, something much darker, and it has nothing to do with Ella's intent. Martinez's thoughts swirl in a whirlwind of professional duty and personal experience. The facts are unclear, and the stakes couldn't be higher. But for some reason, she feels compelled to give Ella the benefit of the doubt. It's not just because of her own experiences with addiction and loss. It's also because of something about Ella's vulnerability, her raw honesty, that resonates deeply with Martinez. This isn't the usual case of a criminal trying to talk their way out of a situation. Ella is not a hardened criminal. She's a woman who's been through hell and back, trying desperately to protect the one thing that matters most to her, her son. With a heavy heart, Martinez makes the decision to dig deeper, to see if there is more to this than a simple airport mishap. This choice could alter the course of her career, her reputation, but for the first time in years, she's willing to take that risk. For Ella, for the sake of truth. Needing answers, Martinez grabs her phone and makes a call. On the other end of the line is Olivia, Ella's cousin, who works at a local rehab center where Ella had recently sought help. Olivia's voice is calm, but Martinez can hear the concern in her tone as she explains the situation. Ella's been working so hard to stay clean, Olivia says, her voice laced with emotion. She's been through hell, but she's finally finding her way. She's not perfect, but she's trying. Please believe her. She wouldn't get involved in something like this. Olivia's words confirm what Martinez has been suspecting. Ella isn't the person the authorities are making her out to be. Her story checks out. Ella has made tremendous strides in her recovery, and Olivia's testimony solidifies the officer's growing conviction that something far more sinister is afoot. Martinez thanks Olivia and hangs up, her resolve now firmer than ever. The pieces are falling into place. Ella might have been set up, and Officer Martinez is now determined to find the truth, no matter where it leads. As the forensic results come in, they hit the investigation team like a thunderclap. The drugs found in the diaper bag don't match Ella's fingerprints. The initial shock of the discovery begins to unravel the tight grip of suspicion that had held Ella captive. The forensic team quickly analyzes the drugs, fentanyl powder and blue pills, and runs their tests, revealing something unexpected: no trace of Ella's fingerprints. This is a pivotal moment for the case, confirming that the drugs weren't hers. Ella's desperation to clear her name now has tangible proof, giving her the first real hope she's felt in what feels like forever. The tension begins to lift, though the mystery surrounding the drugs and their origin remains unsolved. With this evidence, the officers are forced to reassess the situation. They have no choice but to look deeper into who could have planted the drugs and why. In a swift follow-up to the forensic findings, investigators dig into the criminal activities surrounding Ella's ex, Jason. It doesn't take long for them to uncover his grim role in a series of overdose-related incidents. Jason, it turns out, has been linked to a larger network involved in drug trafficking and overdose cases. Ella, it seems, wasn't just an innocent bystander. She had been manipulated into participating in his schemes. Authorities confirm that Jason has been under investigation for his involvement in various drug-related crimes. His connection to the fentanyl found in Ella's bag now comes into sharper focus. As the truth about Jason's criminal ties emerges, the pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place. Jason had used Ella as a pawn in his game, forcing her to take the drugs without her knowledge, exploiting her vulnerabilities, and dragging her back into the darkness of his world. The deeper the investigation goes, the clearer it becomes that Jason's manipulation of Ella was not an isolated incident. His entire operation is part of a much larger and more dangerous drug trafficking network. The authorities start to piece together how Ella, unknowingly, had become tangled in Jason's web of deception. She had been a victim all along, forced to carry the drugs under duress. With this revelation, Ella's involvement in the drug operation is no longer seen as a personal failure, but as a result of Jason's systematic abuse and control. The realization of her innocence begins to shine through, and her role as a pawn in a much larger criminal enterprise is now exposed. For Ella, this discovery offers a bittersweet relief. The truth has come to light, but the road to healing and redemption is still long. As the pieces of the puzzle come together, the weight of the situation lifts from Ella's shoulders. After weeks of doubt and tension, the evidence finally speaks for itself. The charges against her are formally dropped, and she's cleared of any involvement in the drug trafficking scheme. The relief is overwhelming, but it's mixed with a deep sense of exhaustion. Ella's eyes brim with tears, not just from the joy of being exonerated, but from the years of pain and struggle she's carried. She can now breathe again. Her son, Eli, who has been with her through the darkest moments, is finally free from the shadow of this tragedy. For the first time in a long while, Ella dares to imagine a future not defined by the past, a future where she can rebuild her life, piece by piece. The weight of the world feels lighter, but the scars left by the journey remain. Amid the swirl of emotions, there's a quiet presence that offers the deepest comfort. Max, the German Shepherd. As the final pieces of the investigation are wrapped up, Max quietly approaches Ella, his large, reassuring body pressing against hers. He doesn't need to say a word. His presence speaks volumes. Ella gently strokes Max's fur, feeling the comforting weight of his body against her own. In that moment, she realizes just how far she's come. Max was there for her when everything seemed hopeless, offering his silent support through every moment of her struggle. His loyalty and intuition have been her constant companions, and now, as she stands on the edge of a new life, Max is still there, reminding her that she's not alone. The bond they share goes beyond training and duty. It's a deep, unspoken connection forged in the fires of trauma and survival. For Ella, Max is more than just a service dog. He's her friend, her protector, and her reminder that healing is possible. In the midst of the emotional whirlwind, Officer Martinez steps forward. She looks at Ella with kind, understanding eyes, her voice steady but full of warmth. "You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep fighting," she tells her, offering words of wisdom that carry the weight of her own painful journey. Martinez's words resonate deeply with Ella, and for the first time in a long while, she begins to believe that she can make it. She doesn't need to have it all together. She doesn't need to be flawless. What matters is that she's still here, still standing, and still fighting. For herself, for her son, for the future that she can now finally see ahead of her. Ella smiles, a small, tentative smile, but it's one that carries the promise of hope. The road ahead may not be easy, but with people like Martinez, and with Max by her side, Ella knows she has the strength to face whatever comes next. 1 year has passed, and Ella Clark's life has taken a profound turn. She's completed the rehab program that once felt like an impossible dream, having worked tirelessly to rebuild her life and create a stable, loving environment for her son, Eli. Gone are the dark days of addiction and manipulation by her ex, Jason. Ella now stands strong, focused on providing her son with a future free from the chaos of her past. Together, she and Eli have found a rhythm, a peaceful balance that fills their days with joy and growth. While the journey to recovery hasn't been easy, Ella has proven that with determination, love, and the right support, even the most challenging roads can be walked. Max's presence remains in her life, not physically, but in spirit. His loyalty and the unshakable bond they shared still inspire Ella each day. Max's impact on her life has left a lasting legacy, one that's carried forward through her new sense of purpose and the love she has for her son. Ella often reflects on the moments of silence, when Max would lean against her, sensing her pain before she even knew it herself. That quiet companionship taught her the value of resilience, of never giving up, no matter how bleak things seemed. In a heartfelt gesture of gratitude, Ella sends a letter to Officer Martinez, filled with appreciation for her unwavering belief in Ella's innocence. Along with the letter, she includes a picture of Eli, smiling joyfully, clutching a stuffed German Shepherd toy named Max Jr. The toy is more than just a comforting plush for Eli. It's a tribute to the dog who helped save them both. The letter is filled with the words Ella couldn't say at the time, words of thanks and words of hope. As she writes, Ella can't help but smile, knowing that she and Eli are now walking a path toward a bright, positive future. It's a simple, powerful reminder of the love and healing that Max's presence brought into their lives. Several weeks later, Officer Sofia Martinez visits Ella at a community center. Ella has become a volunteer there, helping other mothers in recovery find their footing and regain their sense of self-worth. The center, once just a symbol of Ella's struggle, is now a place of healing and support for others. Martinez arrives, and as she walks in, she's greeted by the sight of Ella, confidently guiding a group of women through a meeting. It's a powerful moment for both of them, as Martinez sees firsthand how far Ella has come. They share a quiet moment, both reflecting on their journey, on Max, and on the profound impact that compassion and trust can have on someone's life. Sometimes the loudest cries for help are silent, and the hero isn't always wearing a badge. Sometimes he's wearing a leash. This poignant thought lingers as we reflect on the incredible journey of Ella and Max. Their story is one of struggle, hope, and redemption, but also a testament to the quiet power of loyalty and empathy. Max wasn't just a K-9 officer. He was a lifeline when Ella needed it most. And while Officer Martinez played a crucial role, it was Max's instinctive understanding of human emotion that made all the difference. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Do you believe people can truly change? Have you ever been misjudged or misjudged someone else? We want to know your thoughts and reflections on the power of second chances, both for humans and animals. If Max's loyalty touched your heart, don't forget to show some love. Comment with your thoughts or share your personal story. Like this video if you believe in the power of change and redemption. Subscribe for more emotional, real-life animal-human stories that inspire hope and connection. Let's continue to spread the message of compassion and second chances.